Welcome, dear Dhamma friends. Let's continue our journey on Vipasssana from where we left. There were question and answers. In the last session, I was talking about the Vipasssana, what it would mean to be having a Vipasssana, and are there any different kind of Vipasssana. So we concluded that there's only one Vipasssana, there are no different kind of Vipasssana. Then we will now go into, is Vipassana a tradition? That most of the people think it's a tradition, or it's popularized as a tradition, or as a method, which different countries do in different ways. So what it is it a tradition? Is it something different? So let's say if I take a Theravada country like Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, these are Theravada countries. If I take Mahayana countries, this can be Japan, China, Korea, and other countries who are in Southeast Asia. So they become Mahayana, including Tibetan Buddhism is a Mahayana tradition. So now we have a Theravada tradition, we have a Mahayana tradition. So now in this Theravada, there is this Vipassana. That doesn't mean that there is no Vipassana in the Mahayana tradition, but fairly they have differences. So the first question is, in this, is it a tradition? So the most popular, or the country which really popularized this Vipassana is Burma or Myanmar, especially Lede Sayadaw, and then Ubakin, and then Goenka. So Goenka popularized in India, also across the globe. So when we say Vipassana, we get to see that it is Goenka technique. So it has been roughly known as Goenka technique, even though it's Vipassana. Now, having understood that it is the popularization, which is what we treat, but Vipassana per se is investigation, insight, is to know what really is happening, irrespective of which tradition it is. So just to cite an example, when we look at Vipassana or Vipassana as taught by Goenka in the 10-day, 20-day, like that, retreats, the focus is on the breath, the focus is on what is happening on the body. Now, what is expected out of it is that generally we react to these body sensations. So what am I doing is, I am not at all reacting to the body sensation. So when I don't react to the body sensation, it becomes very easy for me to get into the jhana automatically on one side and investigation on the other side of what really is happening. Let's take an example where I'm sitting for 1 hour cross-legged. Then there is a pain which is coming in my body. Now what I can do is to observe the pain. So be just an observer, not a reactor. So that means that doership is gone, that I'm doing something. Then I'm experiencing the pain. I am, that is gone. Instead, just an observer, and just observing what is happening without getting caught up in doership and experiencer. And this is exactly what Vipassana is all about. Whether I watch the body sensation, whether I watch it like the elements, or I whether watch it like the 6 senses, the objective is not to react. And that's the key message of the Buddha, is not to react. Just observe, because when I react, it creates a separate thread, That means whatever is happening is one, whatever I am reacting is another. So they both have no correlation. So I can be thinking 100 different things, and then the actual might be different. So the whole objective is to see what actually is happening rather than reacting to whatever is happening. So this nothing called as a tradition. It is a misnomer, or a, we can conventionally say that since Ledi Sayadaw and Ubakin and Goenka, especially Ubakin and Goenka, who popularized in the masses for lay followers, who were not knowing how to observe. So this technique of Goenka really helps in understanding the sensations, what is appearing in the body, and learning how not to react to these sensations. Because when we react to the sensation, it causes suffering. Now, that doesn't mean that the pain arises and you should ignore the pain. That's not Buddha's teaching at all. And even Goenka says that not to, hurt yourself in sitting. You can change your posture, but be mindful of the changing of the posture. Don't react either to the good feeling which is coming or the bad feeling which is coming, because both are transitory, they are transient, so they are anicca. In its nature, they arise and pass away. So as an observer, I am seeing it. I'm not reacting to it. So this is the whole message of Buddha in terms of not reacting to the body sensation wherever it appears. It is appearing in the leg or in the thighs, whether in the stomach, whether it head or wherever it appears. It is okay, let it appear. We'll do what has to be done, but not reacting to it. So whether it is the Burmese tradition, whether it is Sri Lankan tradition, whether it is Thai tradition or any other tradition, Mahayana tradition, the basic understanding is the same. There's no difference in that. The understanding is to investigate. That's the whole understanding. So in the Anapana Sati Katha, which is in the Khuddaka Nikaya, Sariputta explains step by step on how to do Anapana. That is, Ana is taking in, Apana is throwing out. So we are taking the breath in and breath is coming out, if we take breath as a meditation object. Now, using that, we are trying to see what exactly happens when I take the breath. That is the basic idea. So then when I get dispassioned, that means whether there is a viraga which comes in me. So there are 7 attributes we can see when I take any object. When I go on the Dhamma, is that it should have nibbida, which is disillusionment, viraga, which is dispassion, nirodha, cessation, so that I really see what is happening. So I don't react to that body sensation or to the situation or whatever that object I am trying to look into or investigate into or get an insight into what really is happening. So nirodha upasamaya, which means peaceful, because when I don't take it to be myself, I am in pain, I am in pleasure. If I come out of both of this, then what do I see? I see it peaceful, which is upasamaya. Then I can see exactly what is happening. Abhinyaya, that is the seeing it in a different way than the normal way of seeing. I seeing myself as vilas. Now here I see this as just an accumulation of 4 elements. Abhinyaya, sambodhaya, because now I am seeing it, what do I get? I get to see the 4 noble truths. Sambodhaya. Nibbana, that means I am able to experience Nibbana. Nibbana means cooling, meaning you give up something which is unreal. What remains with you is real. So all the created ones is gone. So concluding, back to conclusion is it a tradition? No. Because of popularity, we can consider conventionally, we can be grateful to Ledisaido and then Ubakin and Goenka, who have popularized this technique, which helps everyone to begin with. There are other traditions like Pa Ok, which is again coming from Visuddhi Magga of Buddha Gosa. So we can take whichever it is, it doesn't really matter. But what we should experience, or one should experience, is whether he is able to investigate deeper in whatever object he's taking. He can be taking breath, he can be taking the dhatus, which is the element, he can be taking ayatana, which is the sense doors, he can be taking anything he wants. Objective is to investigate. I can take anicca nature, which is called as impermanent or not as per one's choices. I can take dukkha itself, suffering. Then I can take anatta, non-self, no personality. I can take whatever which I can penetrate. If I am able to penetrate, then that's all what is required. So I don't have to brand it as a tradition. It would be wrong on my part, but if somebody asks me, is it a Burmese tradition? Conventionally, I can say yes, it is popularized by Burma or Myanmar through Goenka, but then it's Buddha's teaching. So we have to be on that. So whatever Buddha has taught is the one we are trying to follow, which means you take anything, if one should be able to investigate and get an insight, and hence Vipassana is known as insight meditation. You go deeper into it and you see exactly what is happening. So I conclude with that. Is it a tradition? No. Is anybody can claim it as his or her invention? Answer is no. But is it popularized by one particular country or one particular person? And the answer is yes. And we need to be grateful to that person who has popularized it. Otherwise, we won't be knowing this tradition or knowing this method. Sorry about calling it as a tradition. Knowing this method, which is good for any person who is coming on the Dhamma, need to have at least a 10-day retreat on Vipassana using the Burmese method popularized by S.N Goenka. And after that, you can do it yourself, because it's all about investigation all the time. It need not be going to the retreat, because that again becomes a hindrance. It actually becomes a addiction that I need to create this environment and going there. But for most of us who cannot get it, again, you have to take a judicious decision to go there and do it, because I have not got it the way it should have been. So it's better to do many of the 10-day retreats or 20-day retreats like that till I get it. Once I get it, then I don't have to. Then I can create the same environment at home. Hope this gave you clarity on whether it's a tradition or not. So those people who had this doubt on the tradition, or they were thinking it is a tradition, so I shouldn't be doing it, it's a tradition. No, it's not a tradition. It is popularized, which is correct, which is good, that somebody has taken the pain of popularizing, and then so many people are getting benefited. So we should be grateful to that individual or the group which has done it, and they are sharing this knowledge. But yet we shouldn't treat it like a tradition. It's a method. That's a better way to put it. Thank you very much for watching, and I strongly recommend you to subscribe to my channel so that you can gain more insights on the Dhamma. Thank you so much.